Crumbl Cookies has become a household name ever since its inception in 2017, capturing both the hearts and taste buds of cookie lovers all over the United States. With over 600 stores in 47 states, the franchise has experienced meteoric growth, making it one of the fastest growing food chains in the country. You've more likely than not come across the Crumbl Cookies franchise at your local strip mall. Crumbl's business model, which revolves around releasing a new menu of cookies every week, has created a massive fan base eager to try the latest flavors. The Crumbl Cookie pandemonium even has people waiting in lines, spilling out the doors, similar to the Stanley Cup and Trader Joe's tote bag craze that we saw earlier this year. But behind all of that sweet success is a sticky mess of controversies, stirring up some serious ethical questions about how they do business, like them being fined for child labor violations and numerous widespread allegations of exploitation, like instructing employees to serve raw cookies, putting up a wall of shame to deride employees who they felt were underperforming, not allowing their employees to take breaks.
So I started working at Crumbl Cookies in Maryland when I was 17 years old. And when I worked there was a couple of other miners that were working there as well. Most of the miners did the night shift because we would go after school, we'd come in around 4 or 5 p.m. and we work until about 10 p.m. and on weekends until 1 o'clock in the morning. The problem was we didn't get breaks. We were not allowed to eat. They told us we could eat snacks in the back. We didn't have a break room with any chairs in it. We just had a back area with lockers, and they said if you get hungry you can eat some snacks in the back. Mind you, this is directly coming after school. At 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. this is dinner time, so we had no time to stop and to eat and to take a break from working, and this is most people's first job. And I've seen so many miners stressed out, so many miners not eating. Like, it was just a terrible working environment. People working 40 plus hours a week who are still in high school. They also forgot to pay us. They would forget our tips. So we're getting paid under minimum wage as well.
They've also been accused of monitoring their employees remotely and criticizing them for not working fast enough.
The store had cameras with audio, so they would hear everything we would talk about, say, everything. The owners of that store would literally be at their house, sitting on the couch, watching us from their phone while we were literally doing our job. And they would call us and be like, hey guys, you guys are going too slow. They would literally make us like scrub off the floor with a toothbrush, like literally like, they would literally make us do that. They would make us like deep clean that store. So the owners had 2 kids that were working at that store. And of course they were the favorites because they were the owners' kids. So they would compare us with them all the time. Like, guys, they would be like, let's say like his name is like Josh. Josh is actually doing way better than you, Dari. Like, that's what the owner will say to me to my face. When we would get cash tips, they would give it to us in like they would be like, hey, put it under the register. And we never got those cash tips. You have to ask to drink water. You have to ask to go to the bathroom. People would leave their place crying, dude. Like, they would literally cry because the owners were so disrespectful and so mean.
There's also been multiple class action lawsuits, among other alleged offenses. Let's talk about the cult of Crumbl Cookies and their not so sweet history of shady practices. Crumbl Cookies is not just another cookie shop. It's a marketing powerhouse. Every week, Crumbl introduces a new set of cookie flavors, which creates a buzz among its customers. This strategy taps into several psychological triggers that makes people want to buy from them. Of course, it triggers the sense of scarcity and urgency. Because there's a weekly rotation of flavors, it makes each cookie feel like a limited time offer. And this scarcity drives urgency that makes people want to visit Crumbl stores or place orders online before the flavors disappear and they've missed out on a trend. You know that every week you're gonna get a new flavor of Crumbl Cookies, and it makes visiting the store a part of your normal routine. Crumbl Cookies has also benefited from a number of celebrity endorsements, with both Kylie Jenner and Olivia Rodrigo launching their very own Crumbl Cookie collections. And many popular influencers alike have shared videos of themselves trying the latest Crumbl Cookie flavors, and some influencers have even built entire brands trying every weekly Crumbl Cookie flavor release.
Let's try the Crumbl Cookies of the week.
Crumbl Cookies of the week.
Hey, I'll review some Crumbl Cookies of the week.
Crumbl Cookies of the week.
And Crumbl Cookies aren't cheap either. The traditional large cookie 4-pack is $15.99, the 6-pack is $22.99, and the 12-pack is $42.99. And this pandemonium over a food item is not unique to Crumbl. We've seen other food products do the same, like the Popeyes chicken sandwich in 2019. When Popeyes released its chicken sandwich in August of 2019, it sparked a nationwide craze. The sandwich became so popular that it was sold out in many locations within days of launching, and it led led to long lines, social media battles, and even physical altercations. And with the fall season quickly approaching, who could forget the famous pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks? The pumpkin spice latte, also known as the PSL, taps into seasonal nostalgia. It's also become this cultural icon, often associated with the basic fall aesthetic. That was me. I'm not even gonna hold you. I was one of them girls. Thankfully, I no longer go to Starbucks, and I never will again, quite frankly. But now, just like those before it, Crumbl has become more than just a treat. It's a cultural phenomenon with a fan base that can't get enough. Crumbl has cultivated a cult-like following and an immersive brand experience. When you walk into a Crumbl Cookie location, you're greeted by their employees with great glee. But while Crumbl basks in the glow of seemingly cheerful, friendly employees and influencer and celebrity endorsements, the realities of their brand behind the scenes seem to contradict this polished brand image. Crumbl has faced widespread criticism regarding the quality and the healthiness of their cookies. Many customers have complained about their cookies being raw.
We are so excited we're getting this week's lineup. We take a bite. This is raw. This cookie is actually fully raw. I thought I was gonna throw up when I ate it. And then not only is that one raw, then I'm like, okay, maybe it's the cookie, maybe it's a bad batch. We try the next one. Same thing. Literally same thing, fully raw.
This was an absolute disaster, and this was the one I was most excited for. But this is absolutely, look at that shine. That means that it's 100% just completely raw, and this is very dangerous.
Are Crumbl Cookies supposed to be this raw in the middle? So I was trying this Crumbl cookie and it's literally completely raw. Like that's, like you can't deny that that's raw. Look at that, it's like folding.
Crumbl, I'm so disappointed. Okay, first of all, look at this cookie. It looks underbaked, right? Look in the middle. Look at that. That is dough. I can touch it and it's dough. I cannot eat this.
Former Crumbl employees have alleged that they were actually instructed by management to underbake the cookies because they would bake in the box. Of course, it goes without saying that eating raw cookies is not good for your health. Salmonella poisoning has entered the chat. E. coli has entered the chat. And many people have described Crumbl cookies as being overly sweet and greasy and quite literally crumbling in their hands while they're trying to eat the cookie. And these quality concerns are only compounded by a class action lawsuit that alleges that Crumbl is one of the most unhealthy cookies on the market and that they purposely obfuscate the calorie count of the cookies. The lawsuit alleges that the Crumbl website deliberately only showed the 1/4 serving size calorie count of the cookie unless you clicked on the cookie, at which point you could view the entire calorie count. Here are some nutrition facts of their cookies. Let's start off with the milk chocolate chip cookie, which is 720 calories total to eat one whole cookie. And then as far as the sugars go, we are looking at 48 total grams of sugar per cookie and 28 grams of added sugar. Let's look at the semi-sweet chocolate chunk cookie. We're looking at a total of 760 calories per cookie, 52 grams of total sugars, and 32 grams of added sugars. Lastly, we have Olivia Rodrigo's Guts cookie, which is 960 calories per cookie, a total of 80 grams of sugar, including 48 grams of added sugar. For context, a Crumbl cookie containing 900 calories is equivalent to eating an entire Big Mac and a small order of fries from McDonald's, or consuming nearly 3 cans of soda in one sitting. Now, I am not the health police. I am not one to tell you to obsessively count your calories because that's deeply problematic. But we also have to confront the serious implications that these cookies have on our health, especially considering that people are literally incorporating this into their weekly routines. There is a new flavor dropping every week. I don't think you understand how insidious that is. A new flavor of highly caloric, sugar-filled cookies dropping every single week, also being marketed at children. It's not encouraging you to just indulge once in a while. It's like keep coming back every week to see what's new on the menu. The only thing that's gonna be on the menu is a trip to the hospital if you don't take care. A lot of the influencers who are popularizing Crumbl cookies are eating at least one entire cookie in one sitting. I have to imagine that few people are dividing this cookie into fourths. How many times have you eaten a cookie and divided it into fourths? Realistically speaking, most people eat cookies in one sitting. Most people take whatever number they see first as the calorie count at face value because they simply don't have the nutrition label literacy to understand how serving sizes work. The FDA website itself says, by law, serving sizes must be based on how much food people actually consume, not on what they should eat. According to the World Health Organization, the recommended daily sugar intake is roughly 50 grams of sugar for an adult. So by consuming just one Crumbl cookie on most occasions, you're already exceeding your daily sugar intake recommendations. I am not the girl who's finger wagging and wanting to shame people necessarily, but I also care deeply about your health, and these cookies are not healthy. I completely understand people who eat unhealthy foods because they have no other choice, and so they have to get the cheapest food that they can get to survive. I get that. But these cookies are ridiculously expensive gourmet cookies. No one needs to be consuming this. An additional class action lawsuit alleges that a 2.95% service fee was added to customer orders, and it was hidden under the phrase taxes and fees on a tablet in the store or on the app when ordering remotely. And a separate class action lawsuit alleges that Crumbl embedded web tracking technology, allowing the third-party processing company Stripe to obtain without customer consent customers' names, emails, delivery addresses, geographic locations, IP addresses, and payment information when consumers were surfing their website. Let's discuss, though, their long history of labor violations and exploitation. In 2023, Crumbl Cookies made headlines when it was fined nearly $58,000 for violating child labor laws. The violations, which occurred across 6 states, involved minors working longer and later hours than permitted by law and performing tasks that they were not legally allowed to do, such as operating dangerous ovens and machinery. In addition to that, many past Crumbl employees have taken to social media alleging poor treatment and exploitation that they've experienced. And their reviews on Indeed reflect a similar sentiment, where people are saying that they receive no breaks, no guidance. They describe the work environment as being chaos and disrespect, with no benefits and taxing work. The treatment of workers at Crumbl is symptomatic of a broader problem in the food and retail industries, where low-wage, part-time, and seasonal labor is often exploited. Many workers in these industries are young, inexperienced, and may lack the bargaining power or the knowledge to advocate for their rights, making them vulnerable to exploitation. I remember anecdotally when I first started out my career, I had just graduated from college, and even me as a college graduate at 22 years old, my first jobs that I had exploited me to the nth degree. And I remember my mother used to tell me like, oh, you have to negotiate. You need to ask them for more money. I was just like, negotiate where? How? Who? Me? If I don't accept this offer at whatever they're paying me, they're just going to hire somebody who will. Because when you're at an entry level part in your career, you do not have the room to advocate for yourself. You don't have the skills, nor do you have the power to do so, because they're always going to find someone who is going to do it cheaper for the price that they offered. Youth makes you vulnerable for exploitation. I was 22 years old. Crumbl, on the other hand, a large part of their workforce is children, teenagers. So the rapid expansion of Crumbl has only created a work environment that has made young people ripe for the exploiting. And last year, Crumbl also had mass layoffs. Last year, they laid off a significant number of employees, citing, quote, strong economic headwinds as the reason for these cuts. And the timing of the layoffs was particularly interesting because just 2 weeks before these layoffs were announced, Crumbl's co-founder, Sawyer Hemsley, posted a video on Instagram showcasing a massive new mansion that he was building. I mean, the unmitigated gall to lay off a huge swath of your workforce only to be conspicuously showing off how much money you have. Why eat Crumbl cookies when you can eat the rich? This is a common practice in the corporate world. A lot of companies use economic downturns as a pretext for cutting their workforce, even as those companies continue to generate significant profits. In many cases, the reasons for these layoffs are to preserve or even enhance the profitability of the shareholders and executives of the business. And this often comes at the expense of the workforce. I've seen it firsthand. A company that I previously worked for had mass layoffs as well. A few months prior to the layoffs, the CEO gave him or herself a raise. And Crumbl's labor exploitation was further highlighted when a Crumbl franchise in Dartmouth, Massachusetts came under fire for posting a job ad asking potential candidates to work a quote, unpaid trial shift. The job posting, which was shared by a personal account of a manager of its Dartmouth franchise on Facebook, literally asked people to volunteer their time, audition to be an employee before being hired to be a paid employee. It was edited to remove that portion, but the fact that it was even there in the first place says a lot about their hiring practices. This is a stark reminder that corporate greed is not just an accumulation of wealth, but it's a devaluation of the workforce. Let's talk about the dangers of the hyper-consumerism that Crumbl promotes. Crumbl Cookies' business model taps into the phenomenon of hyper-consumerism, where people are encouraged to consume products, in this case, cookies, excessively and impulsively. The constant introduction of new flavors, coupled with the effective marketing and influencer endorsements, has created a culture of excess where customers feel compelled to try every new cookie, disregarding the health implications or ethical concerns about the company and their labor practices. Throughout history, the food and retail industry have relied on cheap and exploitable labor to fuel their growth. These industries have thrived on the backs of workers who are often overworked and underpaid. And this exploitation is no doubt systemic, right? And it's rooted in a capitalist framework that prioritizes profit over the people. Crumbl Cookies has no doubt carved out a niche, right, in specialized desserts. As I've talked about previously, we all have basic needs. We all have to get groceries from certain grocery store chains that are so ubiquitous that we have to shop there. And obviously there's nothing wrong with eating out so long as we're leaving good tips and we're treating the workers with respect and kindness. But when it comes to some luxury gourmet cookies, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism are way out of that, okay? These cookies are deeply problematic and terrible for you. Let's please also stop standing franchises, corporations. Let's not do that. They're surely not standing you because they couldn't care less about what it does to your health. As long as they get their money, they're good. I'm just here to give you the information. What you decide to do is your own business, but I would love to hear from you all in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Crumbl Cookies? Have you ever worked there? What were your experiences if you did in fact work there? Have you tried a Crumbl cookie? But if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you really liked it, definitely hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see what I'm doing outside of YouTube, you can follow me on my social media, which you can find down here, as well as my Patreon, where I have several tiers that might work for you. But that's all I've got for today. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time.